Hello students, this is Mr. Goddard, and in this lesson we're going to be talking about using how to get user input with the scanner class in Java. So fundamentally what we're going to learn is how to get user input using the keyboard and then how to store that into a variable. At the end of this lecture you'll be given an assignment, and the assignment is that you're going to write a program that's going to input two integers and two doubles, and then we'll print out those numbers, as well as write a program that's going to input two words and two sentences and then print those out as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, fundamentally we are trying to get user input from the keyboard with the thing we're going to use is this thing called the scanner class. So first question, how do I store user input into an integer? There's actually, you can say there's 5 steps. There's a few more than 5 lines of code, but fundamentally this is the stuff that we have to do. And this is the technical instructions, and then we'll actually get to the code here in a second. First, we're going to have to import the Java library code for a scanner object. The people who wrote the Java programming language also wrote a library with a whole bunch of tools. Some of those tools we've already used, like the math class and the string class, and the system class to print things out. Well, now we're going to utilize something called the scanner class, and we're going to create a scanner object. In order to access that, we need to have this import statement at the top so we have access to it. Then we are going to declare and initialize the scanner object and have it set up so that it reads from the system input, which is the keyboard. Then we're going to declare a variable that will store the user's input, so we have to have some place where we're going to store the data. Then we're going to prompt the user with a print statement. We're going to say, hey, give us some information. And then we're going to actually get the information that they've typed in and store it into the variable. Those 5 steps are all included here in this complete class. This is called the input demo 1 class. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select that whole thing, and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to go over here to my Java editor, paste it in there. And just to kind of show you what this does. So input demo 1, I'm going to save it. And I'm going to run it just to kind of show you what happens when I run this. This says enter a number. Okay, I'm going to enter in 43. And it has a nice little text box right there. And then boom, you entered 43. If I run it again just so you can see that there's no trickery going here, I'll type in 10, and it says you entered in 10. So that's what we're doing. We're basically creating a way for our program to have a text box and then get that. Now let's go ahead and actually look through the code. So you can see here, I'm going to pull this back up. So line 1, I've got that import statement, and why there's the dots, and this is why this is java.util.scanner. We'll go into the packages and all that stuff in later lessons. Right now you just need to basically know that you've got to have this line. This is our class header, public class input demo 1, our standard public static void main string bracket args. And then this line right here is another one of those that you kind of just have to copy and paste it in every time, but I will explain very briefly what's going on. So we're creating a new scanner object, so you can see that's why I have the word scanner right here. I'm going to call that scanner object keyboard. So later on you'll see I have a line that says keyboard.nextInt. We'll find out that I could actually call that whatever I want to call it, but keyboard makes the most sense since I'm actually grabbing it from the keyboard. And then I say equals new scanner, and then this is what's going on here is it's actually calling the constructor for the scanner class, and we are sending it the system.in, which is the standard input stream, which is from the keyboard. Now you might say, well, how am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to know where this? Well, you're not. We have to take the word of the Java experts who've created all of this, and they've done a lot of stuff behind the scenes, which is good, so that all that we have to do as beginning programmers is just literally copy this line down and then use some of the tools and the instructions that they've provided, and we can start doing some interesting stuff. Programming is one of these things where if you keep asking questions, there's answers all the way down. but you don't have to know all of those answers all the way down in order to use some of these tools. And so that's good for us. So here's what you need to know. You need to have what's on line 7. Line 9 is where we're declaring a variable. I'm calling it num1, and it's an integer, setting it equal to 0. Then in line 11, I'm printing out a message to the user saying enter a number. Whenever we have something like this that is asking the user for information, we call this a prompt. And then this right here, this is everything. Num1 equals keyboard.nextInt. Now if you remember, the equal sign there is the assignment operator, and it is going to execute from the right side first and then put it into whatever's in the left hand side. So on the right hand side, we see that keyboard object. Actually, it's a scanner object named keyboard. And this is the command, keyboard.nextInt. NextInt means essentially create a text box, and then when the user types in a number, an integer, grab that number, and then that's what this whole line does, whole side of the equation here says. It's not really an equation, but of that line. The parentheses, because this is a method call. Anyway, essentially we can imagine that whatever number the user types in here is going to replace everything that's selected there, and it will store it there in the num1 variable. So that when we then have a print line, just to kick us down an extra line, then system.println, you entered num1, it will take whatever value was stored in num1 and then print it out. Okay, so pretty straightforward. It has all those elements in it that we talked about up there. So that might lead you to ask the question, well, what if I wanted to store a double? And the answer is it's almost the exact same way, but we need to change the int to a double in a couple of places. And I have that all written right here. I'm actually just going to copy all of this. Well, actually, let's look and see the changes here. I've bolded it for ease of use. So double num2. Okay, so previously that was an int, now it's a double, and then everything else is the same except here we just say keyboard.nextDouble. Okay, so I'm going to copy this code, and I encourage everything you see me doing you need to do as well, so that you've got these files. You've got access to these files as well, so you can just copy and paste them later on. We're going to compile it, which will automatically prompt us to save it. So save it, and then run, enter in a number, and I'll say 3.14, enter, you entered 3.14. And that's great. I was able to enter a double. You might say, all right, well, what if we typed in an integer here? What if I just typed in 5? Oh, you entered 5.0 because even though we typed in 5, this is going to sort as a double, and if you remember, doubles, if you have like an integer, if you type in integer, it's going to add, Java will add a 0.0 at the end. So at this point you might say, oh, wait a second, what if I went back to that input demo 1 where you had an integer and I typed in a double there? I want to be sneaky, huh? Alright, let's give it a shot. So this is back to input demo 1 where it says enter a number, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to enter in 5.4. Enter. Boom. Red lines of death. This is a runtime error. If you remember, there's 3 types of errors. There's the syntax error where you forgot a semicolon or something like that, or a bracket or whatever. And then there's runtime errors, which happen at runtime because you did something wrong. In this case, we have a input mismatch exception. This says java.util.scanner.throw4. This is the scanner class. I didn't write that. I didn't write that. I didn't write that. Input demo 1. Oh, line 12. Yep. So the way you kind of process these red lines of death is you just sort of start going through here until you find the file that you actually wrote. In that case, I wrote input demo 1 on line 12, and so that's where the error occurred. So what happens is that I typed in to the text box a double, and it's trying to store that as an int. It's actually trying to execute this next int method. So anyway, that's why we're having some problems with all that, and why we needed input demo 2. All right, well, there you go. There's how to input and store an integer and a double. let's go back to our documentation. And next question, how do I store a word that the user has typed in? Well, it's very similar to the manner found above. However, we need to make sure the variable is of type string and that you use the .next command with the scanner object. So previously we had next int for integers, next double. You might think this one would be next string or next word, but it's actually just .next. So everything else is pretty much the same. You can see string name, and then we have that .next. So once again, I'm going to copy this, and I encourage you to copy yours as well. Create a new Java file. I'll compile it, which prompts us to save it. And then we'll run it. Enter a name. Okay, well, enter a fun name here. How about Ronald? You entered Ronald. Yep. So literally just taking whatever I typed in on the keyboard, storing it into this variable, and then printing it out right there. I didn't even actually have to enter a name. I could have entered in any word, any character. I could have even entered a number there, but it would treat that number as a string. Now you might say, okay, well that was a word. What if you had typed in a whole sentence? So let's go ahead and type in a whole entire sentence. This is a whole sentence. And it outputs you entered this. You're like, what in the world? I typed in a whole sentence. Why did that only get part of it? And the answer is that the next command only grabs the next word. Technically it grabs all of the letters and characters up until it hits white space. So either a blank or a tab or an end of line character, like if you hit enter or return. So that's the problem here. This is only going to grab one word. So we say, all right, what if? Well, how do we get a whole sentence? How do we get multiple words at a time? And the answer to that is, we'll go back over here, and how do I store multiple words on a line that the user has typed in? The answer is with the next line method right there. So you can see here this code is almost identical. It's input demo 4, and it has this line right here, next line. I've actually already gone ahead and pasted that in here. Input demo 4. I'm going to click run, and I'll say this is a whole sentence, period, enter. You entered, this is a whole sentence. So that's the fundamental difference between next line and next. Next grabs just one word. Next line is going to grab everything until you hit the return key. So can you summarize those for me? Sure. There's next int, next double, next, and next line, depending on if you want an int, a double word, or multiple words saved as a string. And then this right here just highlights and spells out the difference between next and next line, which I just talked about. Another question, do I have to name the scanner object keyboard? And the answer is no, you don't. I personally, in this case, chose to name it keyboard because that is a meaningful name based on its purpose, and that's sort of what you should, if you are naming variables, they should be given names that are meaningful and accurate. You could call it something ridiculous like what I have right down here, the object that reads input from user. It's very accurate, but also a little bit ridiculously accurate, I guess. So the thing is whatever variable name I put there, then I have to use that right down here whenever I'm actually wanting to get the input from the user. So I say the object that reads input from user dot next line. I think this is a little ridiculous. I'm not going to actually copy and run this code, but it does work. And there you go. So that's why I would recommend just always call it that, keyboard. But wanted to highlight, you don't have to call it keyboard. That's just what was appropriate in our case. Another question, can the user type in multiple values to variables? It's maybe not the best way of writing. Can they enter in multiple, can they have multiple text boxes? Okay. And the answer is yes. but you want to make sure that you have different variables for each input, and it's good style to be nice to your users and prompt them each time you want to type some input in. So here's a program. I'm not going to copy and paste this over here. I'll let you do that as your own exercise if you want. I've created 3 integers here, num1, num2, num3, and then I prompt them, enter the first number, enter the second number, enter the third number, and then after each prompt I have a line that says, the variable equals keyboard.nextInt. So that's going to create a text box and store whatever they type in here in a num1, create another text box, we'll type it in there, another text box, and store it in num3, and then it will print them all out. So all those text boxes won't show up at the same time. If you run the program, you'll see it's going to enter here, print this out, and then have a text box here, and you have to type it in, then it prints this, and then shows a text box, and then we'll print that out, and that text box as well. So yeah, this is a great example of entering in multiple pieces of information, which is actually what you will have to do for the assignment here. So there are 2 different classes that you'll need to write. The first one I want you to call input nums. And you're going to prompt the user to type in 2 integers, 1 per line, so very similar to this. Have some sort of text and that asks them a question or prompts them to type in a number. Store that number, store the second one, and then prompt them to type in 2 doubles, 1 per line. So something that says like enter in a double or enter in a number with a decimal value or something like that. And then enter in another number with a value that has a number with a decimal value. And then print all of those values back out so that we know that the program actually recorded them. So very similar to this one, but just a little bit of changes to see if you can apply the information up there. Then I want you to write a program called input words, which will prompt the user to type into sentences, and then prompt the user to type into words, 1 per line, and then print out what the user typed in, preferably with some sort of nice label like I have up here. And just a side note, it is important that you have sentences and then words for reasons which we will find out later in the course. And I think I'm going to go back up. I think in this instructions, write a program that inputs 2 sentences. I'll modify that, and 2 words from the user, and then prints out what the user has typed in. All right, so just to recap, we talked about the 4 different commands that we use to get keyboard input. So nextInt, nextDouble, next, and next line. We talked about all the code that's needed to store it, to print it back out, to be able to access the key code, and also this scanner initialization line here and the importance of that. So hope that was helpful for you, and good luck in your coding. Thanks for watching.